Hi, good evening. Um, I'm back again to talk about. Today, I want to talk about something that is really troubling, and in a couple of months, we all is gonna be feeling it, me inclusive, because my family, part of my family is there, and it's worrisome. Yeah, I want to talk about the new tax law that's going to be implemented from next year, January. What the tax law means to a common investor like me, what it means to your own family members, what the tax law represents, and what are the possible consequences, the pros and the cons of the tax law. Basically, what does a progressive tax law means? It simply says that the more you earn, the more taxes you pay. Now, the first question you should ask yourself is, which country actually practice this kind of laws, this kind of taxes? I can say America, but not really America like that. Yeah, America is one of them, and some other countries. But the real question is this: it's not practicing the law that matters. It is, what are the fundamentals you put down before you start those kind of tax law? Now, in the case of Nigeria, the new tax law is a burden to the poor. Most people will not understand that, even to the average Nigerian. When we talk about this tax law, it simply says the more you earn, the more you pay in taxes. But in a country that does not produce, that does not keep data, that does not have key information, and that does not, it's not even accountable for the things they do, how do you think this tax law will affect the people? For me, the new tax law is going to throw Nigeria into deeper crisis, deeper economic crisis. First, before such laws are implemented, there should be some fundamentals structure that shall be put in place. First, your country or Nigeria is meant to be a producing nation first and first, because it is only in a producing sector or in a producing economy you can tax people the more money they earn. But Nigeria is an import-driven economy in which 90% of the things that we consume or Nigerians consume are imported. So tell me, how would you tax people on the things you already export? And meanwhile, forgetting that these goods and services you're taxing already inside the system is already being taxed when shipping it into the country. So the question is this: what is the core reason? For me, like I said, I don't mention names in my talk. I think the government was trying to practice or trying to translate what they did in Lagos. The current government is trying to carry the blueprint of Lagos taxes and put it into the federal level. But let me tell them the consequences of what they were doing, or the reason why that thing will not work. When these taxes were implemented in Lagos, remember, there are three things that Lagos enjoys. Number one, monopoly. Number two, concentration of power. Number three, it is the most developed city in Nigeria. I won't talk of in terms of development, but in terms of urbanization. Let me just call it development, let me call it urbanization. So Lagos enjoys these three things. And now when you carry that same blueprint that you want to do in Lagos to other states, this is what is going to happen. Now, when the current government was formerly the governor of Lagos State, these taxes were imposed to Lagosians and non-Lagosians. Now, in this context, when you tax people, especially due to custom duties and everything, and remember, the only operational seaport is in Lagos. The only fully operational seaport is in Lagos. So everybody from every other state come to Lagos. Now, so when you tax people or residents or people, non-indigenous and indigenous from Lagos that is doing business in Lagos, remember, Lagos is just one city in 36 states. Lagos is just one state in 36 states. So when you tax, you impose taxes on these goods and services. These goods and services do not lie in Lagos alone. It goes to other states. So therefore, these taxes is being shared within the 36 states of the Federation. That means any tax you impose on Lagos is not only a Lagos state burden, but a burden of 36 states. Now, you have decided to take that same blueprint to the federal level. So now, if you now burden the 36 states of the Federation, please, where will those burdens now be channeled to? Nowhere. It's going to sit on every state. Not forgetting that other states don't enjoy the monopoly, the urbanization, and the centralization of power that Lagos has. That was deliberately done by every government. So, you want to impose those kind of taxes that you imposed in Lagos, knowing fully well that those taxes can survive in Lagos because it's the most urban state in the Federation. So what happens to other states that does not have those three criteria and does not even have nothing as an income generating scheme within the states? Nothing. Most other states rely on the federal allocation for survival. Now, you want to burden the people from those allocations gotten from the government. Because let me tell you how it works. When these allocations are being given to the state governors, some pocket half of it. Some state governors pocket half of this money. Use some pay to the staffs, local government workers. Now, when you pay a local government worker, this money go down the ladder to the family, to the friends, to the beer parlor seller, to the chicken seller, to the market woman. It moves down the ladder. So what the government is saying is when they give every state their allocation, the government in turn take back that allocation from the people. Now, let us look at this scenario. We all know that in Nigeria, most of this allocation are being swallowed by the governor. So, in the case where the governor swallows this allocation and nothing trickles down to the people, in which some of these workers are being owed 30 months salary, 24 months salary. Now, the little money that these workers have saved, without even collecting the current allocation meant from the government, federal government wants to now take more from those people that have not even received their salary or anything from the state governor. So I ask a question. When you talk about a progressive tax, who does it favor the most? It favors the rich. Let me tell you example. Let me explain the example. When you bring a progressive tax and you say the more you earn, the more money you make, the more taxes you pay, sorry. Most big organizations and most influential people or wealthy people hire tax specialists who goes around, look at those natural loopholes and capitalize on those loopholes and pay really little or nothing in taxes. Little or nothing in taxes. And what this government is trying to do is to give birth to more corrupt system, whereby most public organizations are forced to do two or more things. But two primary things most organizations can do. There are other things they can do, which I will not say here. But two primary things they can do is to cook their books or lay off more workers. Cook their books in sense of when you cook a book, it presents a situation where you make lesser profits to pay lesser taxes. Or you cut down your expenses, and the only way you can cut down your expenses is to lay off workers to reduce your cost burden. So those workers' salary that we have lived off will be able to cover those new tax projections which you're looking at. And so doing, the government is indirectly introducing what they call multiple fraudulent activity in different stratas of Nigerian life. Everyone will have no choice but either to cook their books or to lay off workers. So in cooking their books, you're encouraging corruption. In laying off workers, you're creating what they call unemployment. So therefore, what's the solution? For me, as an investor for many years of my life, and coupled with the fact that most of what they are doing in Nigeria, it's something like they're trying to replicate what is happening in America. But the difference is this. America already have strong institutions. America work as an engine. Without the president, things will function. With or without the president, things will function. People do go about their duties without the president or with the president. But they have strong institutions that hold things and hold people accountable. Unlike in Nigeria, where you don't have such things. So what is the way forward? And what do I expect the government to have done? First and first, before you start a progressive taxation system, every state should or must have a pattern or an avenue where they make constant income. The state must be able to generate income without taxing the people. Trust me, if a state does not know how to generate its own income without taxing its people, then that state is good as gone. So, like, what I was thinking the government should have done first was, if you want to tax the whole state, if you want to put that blueprint in all other states, first and first, you have to make sure that every state utilize their capacity. Then the East needs a seaport. The North needs a dry port. The North also needs a plantation. There should be agricultural plantation in the North because they have the good lands. The East needs the seaport because they're more into production and manufacturing. While the West can be the headquarters of all those things put together. Then when you say you want to tax the people, it is really understandable. When you have these 3 points, everything becomes very understandable. Everything becomes very understandable. Then, when you tax them, each state is able to cover its own fair share of the taxes, because now each state is generating income internally without taxing the people. Lagos can serve as the headquarters of everything. Yeah, administrative block, like in California, is a manufacturing hub. Florida is known as the entertainment cabinet of America. Everywhere, oh, Las Vegas, everywhere, you know, every state has its own specialty, you know, and every state generates their own income. So when they are taxed, when the people are taxed, it makes sense. But no, they want to build another seaport in Lagos, another international airport in Lagos, road to Lagos Calabar Express in Lagos. Then you want to do a progressive tax in the whole state. How does it work? How does that work? In my next video, I don't want to make this too long. I will talk about what this thing will create in the next 1 year after this tax is introduced. And I will educate young people like me what you can do to beat this whole. For me, it's just a system that is bound to fail. This system will bring about the fastest revolution. You know, this revolution thing we have been hearing, that it's coming, it's coming. Yes, Nigeria takes time to boil. But truly, this tax system will bring about a revolution fast. And today I can predict one thing today. 1 year into this tax system, the revolution will either start from the east or the north. Because Lagos have survived it all, because Lagos has everything. But the east and the north, this revolution will start due to this tax system. So next time I talk, we'll look into what are the issues that is going to happen with this tax system, and how can the common Nigerian beat the tax system. So it's goodbye for today, and I hope in my next lecture you understand why we need to prepare for this tax system. Thank you.